Dan Wynn and Jason Minix talk exclusively with the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett. Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. MyBestBailBonds.com. The Blitz. Dan Wynn, Jason Minix. San Antonio sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio.
Dallas Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Joining us now, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. And Coach, appreciate the time. I know it's always tough after a loss, but let's start with that fourth quarter. No run plays in the fourth quarter. It seemed to me like the offense was in a little bit of a panic. What was going on offensively in that fourth quarter?
Well, I think more than anything else, we just didn't execute the plays the way we wanted to. We certainly want to have balance on our team. We got into a couple of the no-huddle situations that took us out of some run opportunities, and we just didn't do what we needed to do to go down and score points. And it's as simple as that. We did have opportunities at the end of the game, both on offense and defense, to finish better and give us a chance to win that ball game. We didn't get it done. Having balance on offense is a critical piece to that.
Jason Garrett, head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys, here with us on the Blitz. And, Coach, you talk about balance, you're talking about the run. And I look at the third down percentage. You guys were 33 and 11 last night and for 27%. And then during your tenure as an offensive coordinator, play caller, you were averaging somewhere in the 40, 41, 42. And this year has been 31%. What are you guys going to do, and are you going to be more of an impact on that third down to get that third down percentage down or up?
Well, Dad, you know as well as I do, third downs are critical downs in the NFL, and a lot of the success you'll have on third down tends to be a result of what you've done on first and second down. And 7 out of the 8 misses that we had were 8 yards or more on third down, and those are hard down and distances to make in this league. And so efficiency on first and second down, they did have a kind of an aggressive disguising third down package that we had to deal with. But I think if we're in more manageable third down situations, that goes away a little bit. And ultimately, when the ball was snapped, we didn't get it done, and unfortunately had to punt the ball and give up our opportunity to score points too much because of our success rate on third down. We certainly have to get better at that.
Dallas Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Coach, we talked last week with you about the run game, and you said that was something that you wanted to establish more. DeMarco Murray only 12 carries for 25 yards. As I mentioned, no carries in the fourth quarter. What is the focus in trying to get that run game going, or is there a plan that just kind of goes by the wayside a little bit once you get into the game?
Well, we just have to stay more committed to running the football, and we all agree with that, players and coaches. And we didn't run the ball very well. Like you said, DeMarco was 12 for 25, and I think we were 16 for 37 for just over 2 yards a carry. But having said that, we got to keep finding ways to run the ball and attack the defense, a lot of different ways, and it starts with run and pass. And we weren't able to do that as well as we wanted to, and we didn't do it as much as we need to as that game wore on.
Coach, when you think about DeMarco, one of the things, you look at Lance Dunbar, his one carry, he exploded into the hole. Watching other games, you see a lot of running backs explode into the hole. Is DeMarco Murray hitting the holes the way you would want him to?
Well, we're just not running the ball as well as we need to, and it starts with the guys up front, the offensive linemen, the tight ends blocking, the receivers getting involved blocking as well, and certainly the runner has a lot to do with it. And, we just have to get into a little bit of rhythm on offense, get into a little bit of rhythm running the football. And DeMarco's one of those guys, when he gets a good feel for running the ball within a game, he can really get going, really like a lot of great backs. And we got to keep giving him chances to do that. We'll go back and look at the tape today, and we see a lot of areas where we can improve, both up front on the edges and with the runner. We'll keep working on trying to improve those areas for this week's game against St. Louis.
Coach Garrett, you talk about execution, and then I looked at the game, and the field position was so bad. I feel like you guys were always in the back end trying to get out of that hole. What could you do differently in the future to try to change that field position?
Well, last week against the Giants, we take the ball away 6 times and had great field position the whole game. Mm-hmm. We played it differently. And in this game, we gave the ball up twice. We didn't get any takeaways, and I think that contributed to it. They kind of flipped the field on us a couple times with those turnovers. They did a great job with their punt unit, really trapping us back inside the 10-yard line a number of different times, and you have to dig yourself out of those things. And the way you change field position is by executing plays. If you make first downs or make big plays and get yourself back out to the middle part of the field, then you can play that same game if you're not able to convert on the third down when you're around the 50-yard line. We didn't do that consistently enough in the game.
Jason Garrett, head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys here. Coach, and you talked about turnovers. I think the turnover ratio, you were -2 in the game, but you had some opportunities there with Will Allen and also Bruce Carter had a pick six. When those opportunities are missed, how do you go back and you teach those guys, or how do you get that confidence back to those players?
Well, you just have to address them, and you have to say, hey, this was a missed opportunity, and we show our players that, and we put them in that category of missed opportunity because we believe those players can make those plays. If we didn't believe they could make those plays, we wouldn't call it a missed opportunity. We'd call it a pass breakup. But those guys have made a lot of plays for us and are capable of making those plays, and we got to take advantage of making them. I thought the defense did an outstanding job when we turned the ball over, getting stops and sudden change. They held them to a field goal once, and then I believe we got some negative plays to the point where they actually had to punt. And, so I thought how the defense stepped up when we turned the ball over was outstanding. We certainly have to take advantage of those opportunities we get to take the ball away from them because, as we found out last week in New York, those are the difference-making plays in the game.
Certainly. Jason Garrett, Dallas Cowboys head coach, with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. And, Coach, you talk about the defense stepping up and making plays, and they held Jamal Charles in check for the first 3 quarters, but in that fourth quarter, he was able to gash that defense for some pretty big runs to bleed out that clock. What were they doing differently in that fourth quarter to be able to break off those long runs?
Not a whole lot. They had shown some of those runs earlier on in the ball game, and we executed better on defense, making adjustments to some of their movements and getting in the right gap and making the plays necessary to stop their run. And you said it. I think Jamal Charles had 8 yards rushing going into that last sequence, and he had many more than that. They were able to run the ball and make first downs. And at that point in the ball game, with just under 4 minutes, it's the defense's job to get the ball back, and the defense did so many great things throughout the game, but at that critical moment we got to make sure we get the ball back, and we didn't do that as well as we needed to, and obviously didn't give us a chance to come back and win the game on offense.
Jason Garrett, head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys here. Coach Garrett, Dez Bryant had an absolutely unbelievable first quarter. He had 5 catches for 100 yards, and then in the second half he only had 4. Really, after that he was 4 for 41. What changes there in the last 3 quarters with Dez Bryant?
Well, obviously one of the changes they made is they tried to cover him a little bit differently than they did. Whenever Dez was isolated outside man-to-man coverage, really throughout the ball game, he had success. Certainly some success early on making those big plays, but even as the game wore on, when they gave him the single high coverage, he did a nice job taking advantage of those opportunities. And Dez is one of those guys who's going to get a lot of attention, and he needs to make plays when he gets man-to-man coverage. He needs to make plays when they give him a lot of attention. It's on us as coaches to help him get free by moving him around and doing some different things with him. But that's the reality of his world for the most part. He's going to be one of those guys that gets a lot of attention. He just has to keep playing. I thought he had an outstanding game and did some great things for us. When he's getting all that attention, we just got to keep spreading the ball around, getting it to the open guy.
Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Jason, you think about yesterday is you got to feel like you let one get away, and you look at some of the areas, whether it was the false start penalty in the red zone by Leary or maybe the drop by Dez, a turnover that wasn't made. As the head coach, when all of this is happening, and then maybe you're on the plane or whenever you looked at film earlier today, what disappoints you the most when you look back at the game film from yesterday?
Well, I thought our effort was outstanding, and we played hard and with really a relentless spirit in all 3 areas of our football team. And to me, that jumps off the tape, and that's the way we're going to play, and that's the way we have played. And I think that's a real positive that we can build on. You have to do the things that winning teams do, and we were able to do that in Week 1 against the Giants. We didn't do that in this ball game. You mentioned a couple of the penalties. They were much more penalized than we were in this ball game. I think we had 5, they had 10. So if you're talking about winning the penalty battle, we won the penalty battle. But you alluded to the right ones. At the end of the ball game, Mo Claiborne has the defensive pass interference that gives them the last first down to ice the game, and then similarly down in the red zone, we had a false start penalty that put us behind the chain. So, even though we won that battle in the ball game, the critical ones really, really hurt us. So you think about those kinds of things and how they impact the outcome of the game, and you just try to get them rectified.
Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Of course, Coach, as you know, there's going to be a lot of, it's the same old Dallas Cowboys. They're 1-1. They've been a 500 team since the year 2000. You've got St. Louis coming up. It's one thing for fans and for radio talk show hosts, knuckleheads on the radio to come on, and we have all week to talk about it. How quickly do you try to put what happened yesterday behind you and start focusing on St. Louis this Sunday?
Well, today is a very important day for us because we go through the tape and we visit with our players and we try to give them objective, constructive criticism about how we can get better individually as offense and defense and special teams units, and then as a football team. And it's an important day. Whether you win the ball game or lose the ball game, you have to get better. Coming back and watching the tape of how you played the day before. So once you do that, you really try to put it to bed. We as a coaching staff have a plan to help ourselves get better once we get into practice, as a result of this previous game. But your eyes and your attention has to be on St. Louis once they leave the building. We have a 24-hour rule. Whether or not we win or lose, you got to put that last one behind you and then get on to the next one. And you certainly have to do that in this league. And we're excited about the challenge of St. Louis coming in here on Sunday.
Good deal, Coach Jason Garrett. Hopefully next week when we talk to you, we're talking about a win in a 2-1 football team. Coach, appreciate the time today.
Always enjoy it, guys. Have a great day.
Get the latest on your Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett, Mondays at 4:30. Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. MyBestBailBonds.com.